guys, what is up? It's me, Amelia. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna be telling you guys what happened in like the original unpublished Throne of Glass. The whole series that Sarah J. Maas wrote, I think in like 2002 or 2003. She posted it on WordPress, but instead of like just putting it on WordPress, she decided to publish Throne of Glass. So she took it down and like completely changed the story to what we've read now. But I went back and read like the original thing where literally everything is so different because I found someone who had like saved it from like a really like decades ago. So I read it. I didn't okay, this is like so complicated. So basically it's one PDF and the PDF is literally so long, and by long I mean like literally imagine like the whole Throne of Glass series in one PDF. I think it's like 800,000 words or like 700,000 words, and I think Throne of Glass is like 100,000 words, and that literally just shows how long it is. I've been reading it for like a really long time and I'm not even halfway through. In the beginning I was gonna read the whole thing and then film a recap of the whole thing, but that's literally not possible because by the time I'm at like the end part, like Queen of Shadows-ish, I'm literally not even gonna remember what happened at like the Throne of Glass part. So this part I'm only gonna be recapping what happened in Throne of Glass and like the Crown of Midnight part, even though like Crown of Midnight doesn't even exist. It's like this whole weird thing. So this whole thing is called Queen of Glass, and the first like part is called The Eye of the Chosen. And if a lot of people want to see me film like what happens after the Crown of Midnight-ish part, I stopped at like the beginning of Air Fire-ish, then I will make that video. Like I'll read it and then make the video. But if like no one really wants to see it, then I'm not gonna put myself through that because it's not good. Okay, so let's get started. I have a page of notes, 4,000 words. Also, something else, if you've seen the title, like at the end it says "and yikes," that doesn't mean it's bad, even though it's like really boring. That literally just means it's so problematic. It's if you think Throne of Glass is problematic, you don't want to read this. Dorian literally sexually assaults Celaena twice. There's so much slut shaming, skinny shaming, fat shaming. It's just really problematic. But I'll talk about the problematic stuff like at the very end. So let's get started with the characters. We have Celaena Sardathian / Galan Ashryver Galathinius. Like, we do have that. She's like the only one with like the same name. Well, she's not. Okay, and then we don't have Dorian Haviliard. We have Dorian D. Haviliard. So I guess like maybe the publisher wanted Sarah J. Maas to like cut off the D. Haviliard to make it like shorter. Also, Dorian's an only child. We don't have his brother, whatever his name is. Okay, and then it's not K.L. Westfall, it's K.L. Widrail. OMG, but I actually prefer Westfall. And then, okay, we don't have Nehemia Yetger. We have Anuksun Yetger, but it's like the same character. But I actually prefer Anuksun, like that sounds a lot cooler. Okay, and then we get to Rowan. It's not Rowan Whitethorn, it's Raonn Whitethorn. OMG, and also Rowan and Celaena are cousins. And they don't end up together. She ends up with Dorian, but we'll get to that later. And then we have Simeth instead of Sam, and then we have Kaltain Rompier. Her name is the same. Fleetfoot. We don't have Mort. So sad about that. And we have Rowan. He plays like a pretty big part in the Throne of Glass. I mean like the first part. Rowan, Dorian's cousin. Okay, now I'm gonna talk about the names of like the places. It's not Terrasen. It's Trazian. What? That's literally like so, it's like every time I read it on like the page, I literally cringe. Like Queen of Trazian, like I can't take that. And we don't have like Rifthold Otterlin. We have Renaril Otterlin, so like the capital is called Renaril, and Rifthold doesn't exist. And oh my god, this part is so weird. Instead of Eelway, which is where Nehemia / Anuksun comes from, it's A Petusan. A Petusan. Hi, I'm Nehemia and I'm from A Petusan. That's so weird. I can't, like, everything is so different. It's so different. So as you guys know, in the Throne of Glass that we read, Celaena is in the Indovier slave camp, and Chaol, like, takes her to the castle so that she can compete with other guys to become the king's champion and, like, kill people for the king, right? In here, girl, Celaena is brought to the castle to join a competition, sure, but it's, okay, everyone in the competition are girls, and it's literally a competition of beauty and etiquette or etiquette, and you also have to be good at fighting. And basically, like, what the winner has to do is the winner will have to go to Wendlyn and kill the Wendlyn King and kill Galan Ashryver, who plays a big part in this, but we only get like 2 scenes of him in like the Throne of Glass. But yeah, she has to go kill the king and Galan Ashryver, who's the crown prince, because Adarlan wants to conquer Wendlyn. So Celaena is competing with 19 other girls, and literally the first challenge is beauty challenge, like the 10 ugliest girls are cut off. Like, what? That's so different. And also, in the Throne of Glass that we read, Kaltain is just like there to, like, I don't know, be with Parrington dude, like Duke Parrington, and Nehemia is there to like learn Adarlan customs or like spy on Adarlan secretly. But here Kaltain and Nehemia, or Anuksun, sorry, they're literally here as competitors. Like, they're in the competition, so it's like Celaena against Kaltain against Nehemia against like 17 other girls. So yeah, Dorian tells Celaena that if she wins, then she will have to go kill the king and stuff, and then she'll get her freedom. Also, something that's different is in the Throne of Glass that we read, Celaena had a fake identity. She was called Lady Lillian, but here she's called Lady Lithane. Okay, and then the rest, like, there's so much filler stuff, like, it's so dragged out, like, so much irrelevant scenes happen that I'm not even gonna talk about them. But basically, her romance with Dorian develops, her friendship with Anuksun develops, and okay, I was a Silurian shipper, Celaena and Dorian, but here, I am not a Silurian shipper. Their chemistry is so bad. Dorian is literally an asshole. Oh my god, I hate him. Dorian is literally cancelled. And even the way Dorian speaks, like, I can't take it. It's like, he says stuff like, calm yourself, woman, with like exclamation marks, or like, he literally says, gather your wits, you drunken idiot, exclamation mark, or like, are you mad? Like, he speaks like, you know those like movies in like, set in like the 18th century or something. Like, I literally cringe at the way he speaks. There's no like Eye of Elena and no like word mark stuff, which is so weird because it like played such a big role in like, I don't know, like the series. But here, at least so far, there is no like word marks, there is no Elena, there is no like coffin tomb thing, so that's really different. Oh, also something else that's really different is like, for us, we find out that Celaena is Aelin at the end of Crown of Midnight, but here it's literally hinted like everywhere. Celaena is constantly thinking like, oh my god, what if they find out about my true royal identity? What if I'm a princess? I don't want to think about me being the lost princess. So like, the readers know she's Aelin, but for us, it was like a super big shock. So that is really different. Okay, something else I really liked is water PTSD. I don't know if Sarah J. Maas did this on purpose, but every time Celaena went near water, she would literally like have a panic attack or faint, and I think this is because she drowned when she was like 8 years old. So every time she goes near water, she like freaks out, and we didn't get that in our Throne of Glass, and I'm so sad about that because I really liked like the water PTSD stuff. Also, okay, I didn't say this yet, but Celaena is 25 years old. She's so old. I think in the published Throne of Glass, she was like, maybe like 17 to 19. I don't really know. But she was not 25. She's so old. Okay, and then there's Yulemas, which is like, you know, the holiday that they have where they like, yeah. And okay, that's when the sexual assault happens. Dorian sexually assaults Celaena. I think that was like the second time. I'll talk about the sexual assault later, like at the very end, because I don't want to get into that right now. But it's literally justified by saying like, oh, maybe Celaena kind of ended up liking it. And that happens on both of the sexual assaults that Dorian does to her. Like, I can't. When I say sexual assault by Dorian, I mean, first he literally touches her boobs after she like keeps saying no, but it's a lot more complicated than that. I'll get to that like at the endish of the video. And Sarah J. Maas justifies it by saying maybe Celaena kind of ended up liking it at the end. Girl, she literally said no like 10 times. And then the second sexual assault is he literally like kisses her after she like tries to tell him not to, and then she feels really disgusted. Ugh. I'll get into the sexual assault and like analyze like everything about that later. Also, oh my god, one of your favorite characters literally gets brutally raped, and one of her breasts literally gets sliced off. Like, this book is so dark and so adult. I'll get into who that is later, so stay tuned. Okay, we do have Dorian giving Celaena Fleetfoot, so the dog does exist. Oh, also we have Nehemia Anuksun calling Celaena Elentulia, which is different from Arthur Glass where it's Elentia or Elenthea. So yeah, her name is like Elentulia, and in Crown of Midnight that's basically her name. Like everyone calls her Elentulia. And then we get to like the OMG part. Kaltain is basically really jealous that Celaena has Dorian's attention, and she like really hates that. So she hires a guy named Grave, and if you remember Grave, he was one of the competitors in like the published Throne of Glass. He got to like top 4, but here he's just like a random assassin. Kaltain hires him to kill Celaena. She tells him that Celaena is a girl in a royal robe or a royal cloak, but that day Celaena gave her cloak to Nehemia, so Grave kills Nehemia instead. That is so sad. Oh my god, I literally got so sad. So Nehemia is killed by Kaltain. Like Kaltain basically kills Nehemia. Anuksun. That's literally so, like, that's so different. Oh my god. Anyways, now I'm gonna describe Nehemia's death. Like her body. It's so adult. Trigger warning, lots of blood and gross stuff. Her beautiful black hair was chopped off, leaving it cut closely to her head like a doll mutilated by a wicked child. Instead of 2 shining black eyes, there were just twisted holes of skin and blood. Blah 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 blah. Her throat was literally ripped from her body. Her breasts were bruised and cut deeply, one sliced off entirely. And then blah blah blah, a lot of organ stuff. Her fingers are all gone and smashed. She has no more toes, they're destroyed. Her knees and elbows are literally like snapped to the opposite direction. And then also Celaena saw that Anuksun was raped. So yeah. I'm so glad that's not in the published one. Like, getting raped, like, we really don't need that. Okay, anyways, so Celaena gets really sad, and then she asks Dorian for permission to go out for 1 week and find the killer and kill him, and Dorian gives her permission to do that, which is so weird because, like, she could literally just run away, but she came back anyway. Like, if she loses a competition, she'll have to go back to the slave camp, so why didn't she just run away? Like, I don't understand that. Anyways, she kills literally every assassin in Otterland except for like Arobin Hamel's people because they're like her people, and then everyone gets like really scared of her, blah blah blah. Anyways, and then Kaltain is only sad that Grave killed the wrong person because now Dorian is even closer to Celaena. Oh my god. Okay, and then Rowan, who is Dorian's cousin, kisses Celaena while she's having like some sort of panic attack and freezing, thinking about Anuksun's death, and then he like almost tries to rape her, but Dorian stopped him and Dorian punches him, blah blah blah. And then the King of Otterland, okay, the King of Otterland is not a Fog, like it is Dorian's father, because like we get his perspective and he's 100% not a Fog. He was like, oh, my son this, he's not like me, I'm his father, blah blah blah. And then the King of Otterland says to Dorian, like, you shouldn't have punched Rowan because Celaena deserved to get raped. Okay. Oh my god, and then we get the glass circle scene. You know when like Dorian gets angry or something? He got angry and then like glass exploded, but there was this like circle around him, like he was protected, and the glass was like around that circle. We do have that scene, literally iconic. Love that scene, and that's when Dorian finds out that he has powers, because you know, the circle thing. Yeah. Oh, and also Celaena and Chaol have sex, but she only did it because she thought that by doing it she would forget about her feelings for Dorian. And also Chaol does not like Celaena, unlike in the published one. Okay, anyways, so let's go back to the competition. So we have Celaena left, Kaltain left, and Jodra left. Jodra, this random girl. And anyways, Celaena goes to meet Arobin Hamel to like, I might die, I'm gonna be in this fight, whatever. And then basically the King of Otterland meets Kaltain privately, and he tells her that she and Jodra will bring a weapon to the fight, but they're not going to tell Celaena that she's supposed to bring a weapon, so Celaena will not have a weapon. So when they fight, like, Celaena will lose, and she tells Kaltain to try to kill Celaena during the fight. Kaltain finds out that Lady Lithane is Celaena, because Rowan and the king tells him. And then, okay, and then it's the day of the fight, which is like at the end of like the Throne of Glass part. So Celaena fights Jodra first, because the king wants Celaena to be like tired from the fight, and then fight Kaltain. And both Kaltain and Jodra bring a weapon, but Celaena didn't know that she was supposed to bring a weapon, so she didn't bring one, so she's like at a disadvantage. And then Chaol could have given Celaena his sword to fight, but he was like, oh, but it's gonna make me look bad, so he didn't. But Nehemia, or Anuksun's parents, were there, and she gave Celaena Anuksun's staff / spear to fight, so she uses that. Anyway, Celaena wins against Jodra. After a while, you basically have to put someone in a position of near death, and then, oh my god, and then she fights Kaltain, and it literally took so long. And Kaltain was in the lead the whole time, which makes no sense because we are talking about Celaena Sardathian, Adarlan's assassin, against this random girl that has like no skill. And Kaltain was in the lead like most of the time. And she was the one like beating up Celaena, and Celaena was just laying there on the ground accepting her death, which made me like really confused. Celaena's literally like, it's okay, I'll just die, I guess this is the end, instead of like fighting back. I mean, she's like Celaena Sardathian. Like, I didn't get that scene because like the whole book talks about how great of an assassin she is, and then she can't even like win against Kaltain. Anyways, and then Kaltain like reveals that she's the one that hired someone to kill Anuksun / Nehemia, and then that makes Celaena really angry, and then she gets up and like nearly kills Kaltain, but like she doesn't kill Kaltain because she wants Kaltain to like suffer. Anyways, and then Kaltain goes to like jail or whatever. Okay, and then Celaena wins as the king's champion. So she's supposed to go to Wendlyn and kill the king of Wendlyn and the crown prince of Wendlyn, Galan Ashryver, literally her relative. Also, the king of Adarlan says if she decides to run away, then he's gonna kill Chaol, and he knows that like Celaena and Chaol got really close, so Celaena has to kill them. Okay, and then it's like at the end they go out to like send Celaena off, and Dorian almost tells Celaena that he loves her, but she's like, stop, like don't say it. And then Dorian gives her a ring, but he's like, it's not an engagement ring, blah blah blah. And then she travels to Wendlyn, and that is basically the end of the Throne of Glass part. And then we move on to like Crown of Midnight-ish. But it's so weird. It's so, oh my god, Crown of Midnight, or like, it's not even Crown of Midnight. It's just like random thing. It's so weird. Like, it's so strange. Like, it's nothing like the Throne of Glass series. And this is where like, there is no resemblance. Like, everything you know about this series is thrown out of the window because everything is just super different. You can literally put this part at like 1.5 times speed. It's literally the most boring thing ever. I was so bored, I like fell asleep like 10 times. Okay, I didn't, but it was like so bad. Okay, so now she's in Wendlyn. She looks for a job at the castle so that she can like secretly kill the king and the prince, but all the jobs are taken, and instead she finds a job at this estate, and she takes a job at this estate because she knows that the prince will come to this estate because he's looking for a bride, and this house is like one of the like, it has like girls. Anyways, this is when the Cinderella retelling comes in. Basically, in case you don't know, in Sarah J Maas's like query letter or like pitch of her book, she says that her series is a Cinderella retelling. Her exact words were like, what if Cinderella didn't go to the castle to marry the prince but to kill him? So it's basically like this part of the story. So in the estate there are 2 stepsisters, a stepmom, and literally a girl named Cinderella, which is like Cinderella, I guess. Anyways, and then literally a bunch of time passes. There are 3 workers in the house, Luca, Stefania, and Leanna. Cinderella too, because she's like the like daughter. She's like Cinderella, but she also has to work because she's like, you know, Cinderella retelling. And anyways, and then a bunch of stuff happens, like just so much filler stuff, boring scenes, like pages of that, hundreds of pages of the most boringest things ever. They just get closer. Cinderella is like treated really badly. Cinderella gets beat up, but then like her scars randomly disappear. And Celaena's like, where did your scars go? And she's like, aren't they supposed to disappear? Which I think she like heals automatically or something. Also, this is so weird. This is what makes Crown of Midnight like really weird. Cinderella basically has a bunch of dead animals in her room, but they like talk. Like they literally talk to you, and like she talks to animals, and I think maybe they're a little bit alive. But Celaena's like really scared of them because they're literally, imagine like rats like speaking to you. I don't know, I guess because it's like a Cinderella retelling, I guess like Cinderella can speak to rats or whatever. Oh my god, and then there are these like little fae things. Okay, this is my Rowan plushie. I'm gonna use this as an example. Basically, there's a bunch of little like fairy things in the house, and they literally just like run around stealing food, and like sometimes they will like clean your room for you or like clean your dishes. And Celaena's like really scared of them. There's just a bunch of little fae pixie things, like hundreds of them, just like everywhere, and like running around, and like It's so weird. They literally like talk to you in like English. It was just a whole bunch of weirdness, like animals speaking and like doing the dishes. I don't know, it was just so weird. Anyways, okay, and then like Celaena travels to the woods a few times and she meets Galan Ashryver, who also travels through the woods, and they like hang out a few times, but she doesn't know that it's Galan Ashryver, literally her relative. But she does notice that he has Ashryver eyes, and he notices that she has Ashryver eyes, but they don't really like say anything, but they kind of wonder if they're related. But she doesn't know that this is the guy she's supposed to kill, because she doesn't know that it's Galan Ashryver. And then we get a lot of Galan Ashryver, which is really different from like published Throne of Glass, where we literally don't even get him a lot. Okay, and then Maeve comes into Celaena's dreams, and I think Maeve is good. At least that's what I heard from people who finished it. Anyways, she comes into Celaena's dreams and then grants Celaena a wish, and Celaena didn't even say the wish yet, and Maeve's like, okay, I'll give it to you when the time is right. And Celaena's like, what the heck? And then she wakes up, and then they go to the temple to celebrate like this Wendlyn festival called Kaltain. We basically get a flashback for some reason of Celaena lying on a bed, and it's full of blood, and her parents beside her are dead. So that's how she found out her parents are dead, which is really different from the published one, where like it was a whole different scene that I won't get into. And then after that, she goes to this bonfire in the woods where she sees Galan Ashryver, and they start dancing together, and he's sort of like in love with her, which is really weird because they're like related. She notices again that like, oh my god, Ashryver eyes. And then he asks for her name, and she's like, I'll only tell you that it starts with an A. And then she leaves because she's like, I can't do this, I have a guy, aka Dorian. Okay, oh my god. And then we get to the part where she meets Rowan Whitethorn, or as his name is in this thing, it's Raonn Whitethorn. So basically she goes to the pond the next day to like swim or like have a bath, and then there's literally this falcon staring at her. And I know that Rowan is a hawk, but when she said there was like a silvery white falcon staring at her, I was like, oh my god, it's Raonn Whitethorn, whatever. And then the falcon turns into a fae male, and she's like, oh my god, he has silver hair, he has fae ears, he has like a tattoo down his cheekbones. And at that point I was like, oh my god, it's my man's. But she says the tattoo is like blue and green, so I guess Sarah Maas changed that in like the actual one. And then they argue a lot. Obviously, like, it's Celaena and Rowan, like, they're gonna argue, and they argue for a while. He's like, I'm the guardian of this area, and you have to leave, get out of my, like, property, whatever. But he doesn't know that it's Aelin, and that's literally, like, his queen. Also, they're cousins. I don't know if I said this yet, but, like, Aelin and Rowan are literally cousins. She doesn't end up with him. And then Galan Ashryver, the prince, has dinner at their estate, and she sees that, like, oh my god, the prince is the guy I've been talking to, and now I have to kill, like, this friend that I made. The stepmom sent Cinderella to the market because she knows that if Cinderella and Galan Ashryver meet, they're gonna fall in love, but the stepmom wants the stepsisters to get the prince. So yeah, it's basically a Cinderella retelling, and Cinderella literally acts like she's 8. I literally thought she was 8 years old for, like, 2/3 of this part, but then we find out that, like, she's 18 and a half. I got really confused because she literally acted like a child. Anyways, and then later that night she has a dream, and Dorian also has a dream, and they're, like, connected in the dream, and they, like, update each other on what's been going on. Anyways, I said this before, but Dorian is literally an asshole. Like, if you are a Silurian shipper, like, if you read this, you're not even gonna be a Silurian shipper. For example, she tells him about Galan Ashryver, and he literally grabs her wrist really hard, and he's like, are you in love with him? Firstly, no. Second, oh my god, something happened, and Celaena was like, you've got to tell Chaol, and this is in the dream. And Dorian was like, why does she always have to bring other men into the conversation? And literally, every time Celaena, like, mentions a guy, Dorian got mad. Like, he's so possessive, and then Celaena was like, stop being so male and territorial. Oh my god, I literally cringed when she was like, stop being so male and territorial, because that is, like, such, like, a Sarah J. Maas thing. Like, it's so ACOTAR, like, the Illyrian territorial maleness. I literally just cringed. Anyways, and then the next day, Celaena goes into the forest because she gets her period and she wants to, like, lay on the grass alone. And then Galan Ashryver comes. She's like, why didn't you tell me that you're the prince? And he's like, oh my god, I feel royal magic on you, and you have Ashryver eyes. Do you think we're related or something? And she's like, don't talk about my magic or my royal family. And then she accidentally says, I haven't used magic in 17 years. And he's like, did you say 17 years? And she's like, I'm sorry, that slipped out of my mouth. And then that's when he realizes that it's Aelin Galathynius, his relative. has like Ashryver eyes, and like she hasn't used magic in 17 years or whatever, so like he knows it's the lost queen. Anyways, and then he gives her an invitation to go to the king's grand celebration where he will announce his bride. Okay, we're almost at the end. The next day, actually no, not the next day, right after that, she's walking back to the estate, and then she gets kidnapped by this fae woman who puts her like on a horse, and then she goes to Dorinel, we all know Dorinel. It's the Fae City. And then there she sees Maeve in real life for the first time. Maeve is basically convincing her to take back her throne and like claim to be the Queen of Terrasen and like fight against Aderlin or something. And she tells Celaena or Aelin about a Volk war that's coming. Oh my god, Volk, yes. And then she also sees Raonn Whitethorn, and Rowan's like, oh my god, there's no way that that girl is the queen. And then they like fight, and then he's like, you don't deserve to be queen because you left us, you ran away, blah blah blah. And she's like, I know, I don't want to be your queen. And then they like start fighting, like, you know, like the typical Rowan and Aelin stuff that we literally get in Air Fire. And that's basically where I stopped reading. Like, yeah, that's where I stopped reading. I think then we go into like the Air Fire part, because now she's in Dorinel, and I stopped reading because it's so long. Like, trust me, I read a lot and I didn't even get that far, because like the whole thing is so dragged out. Like, something that could fit into 500 words is literally like made to be like 5,000 words. So yeah, that's where I stopped reading. If you want me to like continue reading and like make another recap video, then I'll do that. But if no one wants to see that, then I'll just like take my time reading it instead of like rushing, because it's so boring. Like, trust me when I say it's boring, it's so boring. Okay, now that we're kind of done with that, I said I would talk about the problematic stuff at the end, so now I'm gonna get into the problematic stuff. And honestly, I don't really know like what is problematic. Like, I'm really like not good at that, so if some of these stuff are not problematic, like let me know. Anyways, okay, the first thing we're gonna talk about is the part where Dorian touches Celaena's breast, and he doesn't like do it on purpose, but like it's also kind of on purpose. Okay, so basically Celaena was in this fight, sort of, and like she's in like the nurse, like the healing room, the healer's room, and Dorian comes in and he's like, let me look at your ribs. And Celaena's like, what? And then she clutched the bed sheet to her chest. And then Dorian's like, don't get modest with me, blah, blah, blah. And then Celaena literally says, I refuse. Okay, basically what Dorian is asking is for her to lift off her shirt so he can check her ribs. And she's like, I refuse. And Dorian's like, it's not like I'm gonna do anything to you. And blah, blah, blah. I just want to make sure you don't have any broken bones. And then Celaena's like, that's impossible. I'd know if my bones were broken. Like, yeah. If Celaena feels like nothing is wrong, then dude, like nothing is wrong. You don't have to check if her bones are freaking broken if she says they're not broken. And also in the end, they're not even broken. Like, they're fine. Anyways, he reached out to grab her and she shimmied further away from him. And he says, just let me see, damn you. And she says, I'll pass. And he literally goes, you'll let me look or I'll send you back to the mines. Basically, lift off your shirt or else you're sent back to Indovier, and however you pronounce that. And then Celaena went still, her skin paled. She says, you wouldn't dare. And he's like, you're disobeying the Crown Prince of Aderlin. That's a good excuse to tell my father you're unsuitable to follow his orders. And she got really mad. It's like her eyes blazed, blah, blah, blah. She says, fine, she snapped and moved back towards the edge of the bed. And then she lifted her undershirt high enough to expose her stomach and rib cage. And then Dorian, it literally says Dorian felt a pang of guilt. He should not have used that threat on her. Perhaps he should call a doctor. So he feels guilt, but he still continues. And then Dorian's eyes fell on her snow-white body. Let the doctor burn in hell. Anyways, and then he looked at her ribs near the bottom of her breast, and then he just like describes her like skin, super attractive. Her skin was so soft. And then Celaena basically like takes a breath, like, you know, like a quick gasp, and that causes his hands to like brush her breasts. I don't know. And then she's like, no broken bones, right? And he's like, no broken bones. So basically what happened was she literally said no like a few times to like him opening her shirt up, but like he threatens her, and then he ends up like accidentally touching her boobs, which could have been prevented if like he just listened to her when she said she didn't want to lift up her shirt. So Dorian is cancelled. Now we're gonna talk about the second sexual assault. So sexual assault is defined as unwanted kissing or touching. Now this falls into super unwanted kissing, like super unwanted. Basically they go under the freaking mistletoe and then a bunch of like guys are like, oh my god, you went under the mistletoe, you guys have to kiss. And then Celaena's like, you've got to be, but was stopped by a sharp pinch on the arm from Dorian. Obviously, she expressed that she didn't want to do it, but Dorian pinches her so hard that her voice was stopped. And then she literally thinks, what sort of party is this? More like a form of legalized prostitution. Anyways, and then her face turns red because she's really like mad and embarrassed. And then Dorian kisses her cheek and she's like, okay, that's fine. And then all the guys around there literally start to say like, oh, that's not a kiss, Dorian. Give that girl a real one on the lips. And then Celaena literally says, are you probably like, are you kidding me? And then once again, Dorian pinched her to the point where her extreme curse was stopped before it formed anything. Dorian pinches her so hard that her expressing that she didn't want to kiss was stopped. And then she's like really embarrassed because she doesn't want to be kissed in front of like all these guys. And she tried to say no, but Dorian stopped her. And he's like, come on. The guys are like, Dorian, you don't really mean you're just gonna give that girl a kiss on the cheek. And then they're like, Dorian, you've lost your nerve and your balls. And then he stopped in his tracks and whirled around, his face filled with such cold fury that the assassin ceased her walking. It happened so quickly before Celaena could stop it. His lips were on hers, kissing her so fiercely that she was breathless. She wanted to hit him. Oh, gods above, how she wanted to hit him, to make him stop, to make him feel shamed and disgusted with himself. But for some reason she couldn't. She could see people staring, she could see them laughing. Celaena closed her eyes and waited for it to end. And then it literally says in italics, this isn't happening, ... like her thoughts. For the first time in her life, Celaena Serafian was under the complete mental and physical control of another being. That is sexual assault. Dorian sexually assaults her twice. Thank you very much. And then Dorian's like, I'm so sorry. I truly am. No, you're not. You would have literally done it again, Dorian. Like, shut up. He's like, Celaena, I'm sorry. I didn't want to kiss you. Celaena, don't look at me that way. It's just a silly Eulamist tradition. Wow, nice excuse, Dorian. And then, obviously, Sarah J. Maas doing her typical Sarah J. Maas stuff. Sarah J. Maas justifies it by saying maybe she kind of liked it. So it goes, as much as she hated to admit it, the kiss had meant something. It had felt like something. Yep, also like the first sexual assault, well, I don't know if that's sexual assault because he touched her breasts on accident, but still, like, she said no to him lifting her shirt, which led to that. But even then, Sarah J. Maas said she ended up kind of liking it. Like, why does she always do that? Like, literally justifying sexual assault by saying that Celaena kind of liked it. Like, stop. Okay, I guess that's like all there is. Oh, okay, there's a little bit more. So basically, like, I stopped at like the end of Crown of Midnight-ish, but I did skim like throughout the paragraph. I literally just like read random sentences, like skimming, literally just going to like random places. So I did find out some things. Firstly, Dorian marries a girl named Nicole, but I also skipped to the very end and Dorian marries Celaena at the end. So I guess he marries a girl named Nicole first. Also, Chaol ends up liking Celaena like at the very end or something. Also, okay, this is really weird. So I saw Chaol thinking this. It was like Chaol's perspective. He goes like, she'll never like me. She already has Dorian, Simeth, Thalius, and Raonn. Firstly, who's Thalius? I literally scrolled and there was a lot of this guy named Thalius. And also, why did Chaol say like she still has Raonn? Like, they're literally cousins. Like, do they become a thing? Because I know that she ends up marrying Dorian. So like, and she's cousins with Rowan, so I don't know if they become a thing, but they're cousins. Also, there's no characters that we love, like Lorcan, Elide, Manon. Like, we don't have those characters. Like, I literally got so sad. We have Adion or Adian. Okay, now I'm gonna talk about the slut shaming, skinny shaming, and fat shaming. My camera's almost out of battery, so I'm gonna do this really quickly. Okay, so the slut shaming, literally like Dorian calls Kaltain a slut like a few times. Kaltain calls Celaena a slut and a whore a few times. The word slut and whore is like literally thrown around to like girls everywhere. Okay, and then, oh my god, now the skinny shaming. I literally hated the skinny shaming. It literally made me feel bad about my body. There were literally sentences like, this girl has no curves, therefore she's not a real woman. And the fat shaming, this girl is literally called unattractive because she's fat, and Celaena's like, she's like a fat cow. Who would like her? So anyways, that is it for this whole recap. If you want me to continue, let me know, because I will read and make like a follow-up video to what happens even further, but there's so much. If you want me to continue, just like comment or like it so I know that people like want more. Thank you so much for watching. Literally like let me know your thoughts. I don't even think anyone watched this whole thing because it's literally so long, but I hope that you enjoyed this like alternate Throne of Glass universe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!